Ghost Giant isn't that difficult of a game, and I would encourage everyone to try and complete it for themselves before looking for a guide. That being said, it can be easy to overlook an item required to progress. This guide will focus only on the required progression of the game and ignore all of the collectibles and extras, for now. You can check the description under the video to skip ahead to a particular scene. I'll also keep this guide as spoiler-free as possible, but needless to say, some story elements will be spoiled. Start by holding down the move button to point out your finger, and then poke Louie, the little cat boy. Poke him again after his dialogue, and then either poke the bush he hides behind, or use the trigger button to try to pick it up. After he runs away, pick up the boulders he hides behind and throw them away. And poke Louie afterwards. At this point, press circle to turn to the right and follow Louie as he enters the treehouse. Poke the treehouse to cause it to tip over, then grab it and stabilize it. Grab the life raft off the wall and drop it on Louie. Finally, poke Louie to end the scene, and then poke the glowing signpost to move on to the next scene. Grab and pull several of the dried out sunflowers. After a longer cutscene plays out, move in close to Louie and allow him to touch you. Then poke Louie. After another cutscene, turn to the left to find Cory the bird thief. Poke him a few times and keep following him around until he finally drops the key into the chimney. Then, wait for Louie to leave the house with the key. And grab the key from Cory. Now pick up the key, stick it into the locked shed nearby, and twist the key to open the door. Later on, a rat will eventually leave the shack carrying a hat and a fake beard. Pick this up and give it to Louie. Finally, pick up the truck, turn to the left, and place the truck down on the hill. Then take a wheel from the tractor right under you and place it on the truck. Finally, poke the signpost to proceed to the next scene. Pick up the boulders and the displaced planks of wood right in front of you. Then pick up and remove the fallen tree. Now find some kind of an item, such as a rock, a plank of wood, a pine cone, or a basketball, and throw it at the bridge with a bullseye on it. Look down and right in front of you to find a crank, and spin it around to activate it. Lean in close to the birds and blow to activate the microphone, although speaking normally works way better. Touch the signpost to move on to the next scene. From here on out, the signpost will now reveal how many collectibles remain in a scene. If you wish, you can hang around and look for the collectibles before moving on. The exception being scene 12, which ends automatically, so be careful with that one. Give Louie a high five and then a fist bump. Pick up Louie's hat and fake beard, then move your finger around him to scratch him behind his ears. Wave at Louie, and then wait for him to enter the shop. Then move the crank to spin the shop around, wait for the cutscene, then use the crank again. Look for a trash can to your left, remove the lid, then place the trash can over Louie. Follow Louie to the bridge and wait for a cutscene to finish playing. Remove the lids off of the nearby trees to find a brass handle. Attach this handle to the artist's house found to your right and spin it around. Take the large blank canvas and place it on the easel in front of the house. Look for the paintbrush sitting next to the bridge and pick it up. Dip it into the green paint bucket within the artist's house. Then apply the green paint onto the canvas. Afterwards, dip the paintbrush into some clear water to clean it. Poke the scooter a few times to make it spill oil, then use this oil as the black paint. Go to the tomato stand and mush up the tomatoes with either the paintbrush or your finger to create the red paint. Then use this red paint on the canvas. Turn to the left to face the flower shop and remove the roof to reveal the dripping yellow sunflower. Use this as the yellow paint. Now look for a nearby object, like one of the roofs or the trash can or something, and throw it at the truck on the rooftop across the river. This will cause the blue paint to spill from it and into the river. Use the paintbrush to pick up this paint and apply it to the canvas. With the painting complete, poke the signpost to move on. Look for the scuba diving bird and remove the tack that's keeping her diving board in place. Then wait for her to retrieve the trash from the bottom of the lake and take each piece from her. Once she hands you the brass gear, apply it to the base of the crank to your left. Remove the debris and the door away from the shed in the back to reveal the next gear. There's another shed to your far right that has a staircase, and it doesn't quite look like it can be removed, but it can. Take it and use it to repair the stairs for the building in the middle of the harbor. Then remove the debris and the plank blocking the hole for that building. Grab the gear through the wall, then guide it through the building and out the window. Apply this next gear to the crank. There's just one more left. Look for the large building to your right and remove the wall to find Corey. Then look for the giant clam to your left and near the lake. Brush your finger against it to tickle it and then retrieve the pearl from its mouth. Give the pearl to Corey and then take the last gear from next to him and place it on the crank. After an extended cutscene, keep on poking Corey until he flies away. Now take a nearby object and throw it at the bullseye on top of the ship in the distance. Search the warehouse under Corey's room to find the crank. Apply the crank to the generator in the middle of the harbor, then rotate it constantly until the generator starts running. Use the levers in the middle of the harbor to control the crank. Pick up the sunflower seed boxes from the ship and move them onto the delivery truck. That's it for this level. Poke the signpost to move on. For Scene 6, all you have to do is poke Louie after a long cutscene. Then poke the signpost to move on to the next scene. Just like earlier in the game, remove all of the dried sunflowers from the farm. Then pick up the bag of sunflower seeds and spread the seeds throughout the field. As you can see, I'm having a real tough time here. I don't know if it's just me, but the bag of seeds is impossible to pick up without manipulating the virtual reality headset's calibration. If you're sitting down, then stand up and recalibrate. Then, when you sit down again, you'll be low enough to the ground to actually pick up the bag. Afterwards, go ahead and recalibrate normally again. Take the two clouds above you and rub them together in order to form a rain cloud. Then drag the rain cloud over the fields. Afterwards, pull the cloud down to Louie, then drag the cloud around for a bit. Once Louis has had enough, bring the cloud back down. After all that's been done, poke the signpost to move on. Remove the roof from the house and look inside. After the cutscene plays out, poke Louis' mom as she lies on the bed. After another cutscene, take the teddy bear to your left and throw it at Louis. Next, point at all the posters and pictures hanging on the wall. You need to point at the wine poster to your left, the commissaire poster above that, the pie-eating picture below that, the beach picture in the center of the room, the sunflower picture next to it, the old-time picture to the right, and finally the balloon picture to the far right. After pointing at all of them and having Louis comment on them, you'll need to then point at the wine poster, the apple pie picture, and the balloon picture one more time. Finally, point at the magazine to move on. Poke Louis, give him a high five, and then a fist bump. Pull the lever to your right, wait until Louis climbs the stairs, then push the button in front of you. After the cutscene, push the button again. Lift the roof off the building to your left to find the broken handle. Attach it to the building in the center, then rotate the building 180 degrees to find a wall that you can remove. After the cutscene, use the lever to the right of the building to raise it higher. This will reveal the other apartments that were hidden underground. Skip the next floor and move on to the following apartment. Turn the building around, then remove the wall to find an old goat watching TV. Take the antenna off of the roof here and throw it away. Turn yourself all the way to the right to find a merchant, and then take the satellite dish that's next to her. Attach the satellite dish to the roof of the old goat's apartment, and then press the button in his room to change the channels until you get one that's about sheep jumping over a fence. After the old goat falls asleep, you can take his key. Now raise the apartment all the way to the maximum height to reach the lowest floor. Turn it around to find a locked door and use the key on it. Take the hat inside and bring it back to the top floor of the apartments. Place the hat on the bird. The first half of the scene is done. Look to the left to find the candy merchant. Take his box of chocolates and drag it all the way to the other merchant on the right side of the plaza. Use the chocolates to attract the florist to the candy salesman. When he gets blocked by a flock of birds, lean in close to them and blow into the microphone. Next, he'll get distracted by a billboard. Drop the chocolates and go back to the merchant on the right. Take one of the firework rockets from her. Then turn to the left and push the button in front of the musician's house to turn it around. Light the firework using the fire from his chandelier. Then aim the firework at the billboard. Continue luring the florist to the candy salesman using the box of chocolates. The last thing the florist will get distracted by are the wilted flowers. Go back to the apartment and lower it to reach the room below the top floor. Within this room is a watering can. Use it on the wilted flowers, then wait for the cutscene to play out and poke the signpost to your left to move on. Turn all the way to the left and look down to find Louis. After you look at him, he'll take you to the first puzzle. This bell puzzle can be easily brute forced, but the solution is actually on the face of a nearby gravestone. Anyway, hit the bells in the order of 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Next is the worst part of the game by far. You'll need to hit a series of 4 targets of progressive difficulty. Once that's finally done, you'll unlock the giant magnetic fishing rod. Lift it up high and turn the reel to extend the line. You might have to play with this for a bit until you get the line to be long enough. Now you simply toss out the line and try to fish out some garbage. There are 4 pieces of garbage, each one highlighted by a spotlight, as well as a key hanging in the distance. Grab the broken crank closest to you and use it on the elevator lift near Louis. Next, get the large block in front of where the crank used to be. Use this to fill the hole on the path that Louis will need to walk down later. Finally, you'll need the flashlight and the battery. These are pretty tough to get, and you'll likely get the key by accident first. If you do, use the key on the tomb at the top of the path just to get that out of the way. Once you get the flashlight and the battery, combine them and light the path for Louis to walk along. Eventually, he'll get stopped by a lady with a camera, and at this time a large truck will appear on the bridge in the distance. Use the fishing rod to rip the door off the truck, and then again to grab the fake ghost inside of it. Wave the ghost in front of the lady with the camera until she's satisfied, and then continue lighting the path for Louis. Once Louis enters the tomb at the top of the hill, lift the lid off of the grave. Now the piano will be revealed in the graveyard. Use the fishing rod to get it out. After you pick up the piano, turn it around to find the wind-up key. Keep giving it a few turns and then play the piano with your finger a little bit. Finally, turn to the far left and place the piano on the pickup truck. Poke the signpost to finish the scene and move on. Lift the roof of the house to your left and remove the broken piano within. Replace it with the new piano, which can be found on the pickup truck to your right. Then move the lever in front of the house so that Louis can enter it, and wait for the cutscene to finish. Pick up the music sheet off the street to the right and give it to Louis. Then face the musician's house to the far right. Move the lever and press the button so that Louis can enter, and then press the button again for him to leave. Once Louie's ready to move on, poke the signpost to continue to the next scene. This is the final level of the game. You're in the home stretch now. Keep in mind that this scene ends as soon as it's completed. You can't hang out afterwards and look for collectibles. After the cutscene plays out, shake the tree to cause apples to fall out. Take those apples and place them in the cooker in front of you. Next, open the roof of the building to your right. Take the creamer out of the refrigerator and dump the whole thing into the wooden barrel just outside. Go back into the building and find the wooden stick. Place the wooden stick onto the barrel and move it up and down until you create butter. Take the butter and place it into the cooker. Get the jar in the attic of the building and raise it up to the beehive above you. Keep poking the beehive until honey pours out, and fill the empty jar with it. Then dump the honey into the cooker. You've no doubt noticed these 3 chickens running around. Each time you poke or grab one, it'll lay an egg. You'll need to grab 3 eggs and place them into the cooker. Once you've gathered all the ingredients, Louie will wake up. Stir the ingredients in the cooker with your finger, then take the glass lid to your left and cover it up. Now that the pie's done, we're halfway there. If you haven't noticed already, there's a bullseye on a tree in the distance. Throw something at it to dislodge the crank. Take the crank and place it on the well to your far left. Then look for the fishing hook hanging off the building to your far right and attach it to the well too. Use the crank to lower the fishing rod, then raise it back up to retrieve the key. Use the key on the locked shed in the center of the farm to get the party lights. Attach the plug of the party lights to the generator off to the far right. Then hang the lights along the numbered hooks hanging off of the buildings. Turn all the way back to the far right and blow on the windmill to power the generator. Next, you'll need to look for the replacement lights and use them to fill the missing gaps on the line, corresponding them by color. The red light is found inside the building to the right. The green light is hanging over the door in front of the center house, and the blue light is taken off of the tractor to the left. With the party lights placed and lit, look for the cello hiding to the left of the building in the center of the farm and give it to Louie. After Louie gives up on playing it, take the cello and the bow and play it for yourself. Then a long cutscene will play before automatically moving on to the next scene. All you have to do here is remove the roof of the house to your right and watch the cutscene play out. Then poke the signpost to move on. look for the L plus M flag to your right and attach it to the flag post next to the treehouse above you. Then watch the cutscene, and that's the end of the game. Congratulations, and thanks for watching.